So this is a Medical Qigong treatment protocol for migraines and headaches of all kinds. Also helps with just general stagnation around the head, sinus problems, head fog, all sorts of things. TMJ it can be effective for as well. So first I'm going to go right to his head and scan his Wei Qi fields on his head and purge them out, because the Wei Qi fields, what's going on in the Wei Qi fields around the head really affect what's going on inside the head and vice versa. So clearing things out. Let's first get some feedback from our patient and see what he's dealing with. So you have a headache?
Yes.
Can you tell us where, and on a 1 to 10 scale, where you're at?
Okay. I'm about 7, maybe 7.5, not quite an 8. Focused around the eye, the head, here, trebles back, and down into the neck.
Okay. So this is perfect for
This side
a
doesn't.
little bit. It doesn't. Okay. So it's just on the right. Okay. So he has right-sided headache, 7, 7.5 on a 1 to 10. So it's pretty significant discomfort, and it's around the eye, the temple, and down the side of the head and back of his neck, which is a classic headache. Most headaches involve liver qi stagnation, liver heat from various causes, and gallbladder channel stagnation. So the gallbladder channel, if you look at an acupuncture chart, it zigzags up and down the head and goes through the neck, down the trapezius, down the sides, and down the legs. So the main goal, it's pretty simple with a headache or a migraine. You want to get the stagnation here, because that's pain, and drain it out and away. So a lot of what you're going to see us doing is removing and purging out and down and away. So I'm starting with the Wei Qi fields just by lessening things. Now for a lot of headache patients, just doing this, purging the Wei Qi fields, is going to be feeling really nice. It's just going to, they often will say, wow, I can feel the pressure like disseminating already. And I'm just going to do this for several moments. You could actually do an entire treatment just from the Wei Qi fields and probably get rid of most migraines. That's how easy and effective it is. But I'm going to show you a lot of different techniques here, not just the Wei Qi fields, but there's all sorts of acupressure points and Qigong techniques you can do. Now I just cleared out the head. I am going to root the Qi down the Tai Chi pole first and foremost, just to kind of root his Qi, fill him up a little bit. And I'm also going to go to his feet for a couple of moments. I may not do this enough in the protocol today, but bringing the energy down to the feet and out into the earth is a huge aspect of migraine and headache treatment protocols. In acupuncture, we use a point called liver 3, and that just helps drain things downward. It's like a drain in a tub. You know, if you have a full tank and pressure above, this pulls the plug and drains things out. So rubbing that point or putting an invisible needle in that point, even though it's not in the protocol, it would be a good thing to do. Just put an invisible needle on both sides. If you're an acupuncturist, you can put a real needle, or you can do acupressure, but lots of different little things you can do to start draining the energy downward. So I'm just going to his feet to bring a little bit of tension, to draw the energy down. Now I've barely done anything, but I'm going to ask him, how are you feeling? Any changes?
Yes. I did notice it was dispersing a little bit when you were touching the Wei Qi field. The rooting, it also started feeling was draining, and then on the lip 3, I also noticed a lot.
Okay.
So I would say it's probably going down a little bit.
Okay.
Already.
So the 7.5 is diminishing a little. He's feeling pressure go down and lessening of the headache already. And I really haven't gotten to the good stuff. So we cleared out the head. The first thing you want to do with a headache is go underneath the occiput. We call it jade pillow, gallbladder 20. So it'd be just under the occiput, this bone here, and it's just out to the side and underneath the occiput. It will be tender, so if you palpate it on yourself, you'll feel quite a tenderness. And I'm going to slide my hands under his head and cradle his head and massage from GV16, which is in the center, and I'm going to put my middle fingers in here. I'm going to dredge with a pretty strong force using the weight of his own head and pull out and just dredge. Now, first I'm going to insert my fingers in. There'll be a lot of purging. This can be a messy, from my end it can be messy, so there's a lot of purging. You'll see me shaking out the energy a little bit, a lot of it, during the treatment. This particular area, most headaches are from blocked energy, trapped energy in the head that can't get away because the neck and shoulders are tight. So this helps melt the energy from the head and the neck. It opens that blockage. And it usually feels really good to the patient. They usually don't want you to stop. But I'm just emitting chi right now into GB16. I'm not doing any purging yet. I'm just holding it and I'm letting the area melt. And this will simply just take away the tension and start the melting process. And it's going to start to feel gooey, usually always is with a headache patient. It's going to feel like electric and hot and gooey and just a lot of turbid chi. So once that happens, you're going to see me start dredging fairly quickly. So I'm just holding for now. And now it's starting to release and melt. So I'm just going to pull. I'm pulling pretty strong here. Almost like I'm pulling his head off. But it'll probably feel good to him. If it doesn't, I want him to talk, tell me. So I'm going from GV16 out to GB20, jade pillow, and just dredging the whole area with physical touch. How's that feel?
Feels really good.
He says it feels really good. And I could do this for 20 minutes and then he would just be like jello on the table. And there's so many aspects to this protocol, like just one thing. If you just did the one thing the whole time, you could get rid of the headache. But I'm going to show you a lot of different techniques because sometimes you'll treat someone and what you're doing isn't working, so you got to go to plan B. And you know, every headache is different, every person is different, but there's so many potent things you can do, like liver 3 alone can often just get rid of a headache. So I always tell people, you know, when I do these protocols, even when I do them in public, you know, I expect to get rid of the headache. So it's a very effective treatment for you guys to use. And I'm going to ask him after every step that I do, I'm going to ask him where his number's at and how he's feeling, just to show you how quickly we can bring the number down. So again, I could do more of this, but I'm going to move on to the next step. How are you doing?
First one, we went from like a 7.5 and we're dredging to a 7, and then after this, I think it's probably been a 6.
Okay. So first step, we went 7.5 to about a 7, so a slight improvement. With this neck stuff that I just did, dredging the jade pillow, he says it's gone from a 7 to a 6. So we've already brought it down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit more here, and I'm going to add the pulling of the ears. So this is what the pulling of the ears would look like. So from jade pillow, softly coming up, not to his ears yet. I'm going to pull the ears at a 45-degree angle out. This helps open up the Sang-Jiao meridian, the triple warmer, which goes around the ear. So just purging up through Sang-Jiao 17, which is underneath the earlobe, and just pulling gently on the ears not hard. So I'll pull hard on GB20, but not pulling hard on ears, just a soft tug and pull out. Now, I did mention some pain around the eye, the right eye, so I'm going to do bladder 1, and this point it's best to access from below, so don't press in but just come up. So usually when I press it on someone, I go in with my thumbs or fingers and I press up into the bone there, and it's right on the end of the eyebrow. Very tender point. Even if you don't have a headache, that point's going to be tender. It's like really achy. So I'm going to press it as much as he'll tolerate.
Is that added for Raymond, like a little indentation?
You can come on this side, Chris, if it might be better. Yeah, I don't know the actual anatomical, but it sounds right. There is a little indentation there.
Yeah, just above the inner canthus.
Mm.
The inner, there's a little indus.
So I want to make sure I'm on it, so I'm going to ask him if he feels that ouchie, like is that it, Matt? There?
That one, yes.
Yeah. How about there?
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't have it at first, and I just moved my thumb slightly and rounded it over to the side, and we're on it. So what I'm doing is just emitting chi into bladder 1 right now. And then I'm going to, after I melt it for a moment or two, I'm going to rub his purge the energy out the eyebrows and out towards the Sang Jiao. How's that feel?
Feels really good. The pain is definitely lessening on the eye.
So he says it feels really good and the pain around the eyes is lessening for sure. Okay, so that's another one that I could do longer, but we're going to move on. I'm just going to look at the forehead. We did the back of the neck. I did the Wei Chi fields. I'm just going to scan the forehead and the front of the face. Again,
Probably 5.
so we're down to a 5 now, 7.5 to a 5, and hopefully get it down lower.
And that's a no pain remover.
Okay, so the pain he had at the eye and specifically is gone. He has no pain around the eye. So another classic headache point is called Tai Yang, and since he does have a headache in this area at the temple, it's at the temple, I'm going to use that on him. So it's called Tai Yang, and it's right here. And I'm just going to come in with my thumbs from the side, and it's even with the eyeball out about an inch, inch and a half in the divot near his temple. I'm just going to emit chi in. Once I feel it melt, then I will purge it out. Bellows palm. You can use bellows palm. You don't have to use bellows palm. Okay, we'll get one last report, and then we're going to sit him up for a bit.
Probably 4.
4. So we're down to a 4, and we're going to sit him up on the edge of this table here. Tell us more, like what are you feeling compared to before you came over?
The neck pain's definitely gone.
Neck pain's gone.
The eye does not hurt. Still feels a little cloudy in my head, but definitely much lighter.
Okay, great. So we'll just keep going more. We're going to do a technique called 10 dragons running through the forest, where you run, you emit energy in and you run your hands through the head over the gallbladder channels, dredge it down to gallbladder 21, pull it, sort of like you're raking leaves. You know, you pull all the leaves to this spot, and then I'm going to take the leaves and rake them all the way out the arms and out. So, I don't know what angle here is best, but I'm going to start on the right side of the head, and I'm going to just take my fingers energetically dipping in from the top of the forehead, dipping into his head, melting in, and I'm going to comb with significant force. This can be done energetically above or with pressure. I'm going to choose with pressure here. And I am actually going to pull with significant force through his hair and over his head to the occiput, to the jade pillow. So it's going to look like this. After digging in with intention, I'm going to pull down, raking it down to the gallbladder 21. So you have gallbladder 20 and then 21, call it the raindrop point, because if a drop of rain drops from your earlobe, it'll fall onto gallbladder 21. So they say. I don't know if it's completely lined up with that. So I'm pulling down. This is arguably the most feel-good, most effective part of a treatment protocol for headaches. I mean, you're just pulling, you're dredging the gallbladder channels and opening things up. And I'm just bringing it down, pulling some of it out. And I'm just going over and over. And I'm going, my fingers, when they get over the jade pillow, there's firm pressure. I'm keeping pressure along the head as I do this. Now, after I collect a bunch onto his trapezius, all this turbid chi is now collecting his neck. We want to get that out. His head probably feels better, but we want to get this trapped chi. So what I'm going to do is from here, I'm going to start raking the leaves again, so to speak, and dredging down his arm with physical pressure. It's going to look like I'm yanking him a little bit here. Just pull, make your arm go limp to the side. And just with physical pressure and touch, I'm pulling and raking out the fingers and hands. I want to tell the patient to keep their arm limp. So sometimes they'll hold it up stiff for you, you know, because they think that's what you want. But tell them to just let it go limp, keep it limp, and nice and loose. That way the chi will come out a lot easier. Snap the fingers. Feeling good, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised because I didn't know where my shoulders were actually that tense either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really felt a
Relax your arm. So he said he didn't realize how tense his shoulders were until I started to do this. So now from my end, well, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling very good right now.
Yeah.
Probably to a 3.
So it's down from a 7.5 to a 3. From my end, I'm feeling it's a lot lighter than when we started. And we're just going to keep going. His headache isn't so much on this side, but you always want to even things out. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. You might be able to see it better from this angle. See how hard I'm pressing? Not jabbing him, but I'm completely pressing my hand. Sometimes using this hand to stabilize. Bring it down to the trap. Can you see the video? And then down the arm, get the arm nice and loose. how, depending on how they're sitting, if he was in a chair, I might do it double, and I could do it double like this, both sides. In fact, I'm going to sit angled this way, more towards this corner. That's good. So I'll show you what that looks like. Just now, when I do this live demonstration, sometimes I do this in public and I demonstrate it, and it's important to show people that Qigong works. And what I try to do is, I say I won't even touch the person. So you can do this whole protocol minus the jade pillow thing energetically. So instead of physical touch, you just comb and dredge, You can do it like that. As effective, sometimes more effective. The physical touch always feels good and can be very effective, but you don't even have to touch the person. So, because remember, once you touch the person, it becomes Qigong massage, which is still Qigong, but if you're trying to show people, hey, I don't have to even touch someone and use energy to heal them, you can do it energetically too. So, he's looking very relaxed. Morphine is setting in now. You want to turn to the camera and the crew and the 7 cameras that are on you? Tell how you're feeling.
I'm feeling very good. It's probably down to a 1. It's very manageable. Maybe there's something a little deep in there, but majority of all pain is gone. I noticed that earlier I was having a sensitivity to light because of the pain in the eye. Now it seems to be much more open. Don't have that pain in the eye. I was very, tense in the neck and shoulder because of it, and now I notice that it's very much relaxed on both sides. Very effective.
Good. So I just want to touch up, because if I can get it to 0, that would be great. So just hit some areas that need addressing and maybe show a couple other points, and we'll lay you down. So again, with a headache or a migraine, personally, I don't like the person to leave until I can at least try to get it to 0. So, I could have him leave now, but it's like, wait a minute. I know if I do 5 more minutes, we could get it to 0. So let's try. So you said around this area?
Right in the middle.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is just a little, this isn't even in the protocol, but I'm going to scan the head, do the laser beam between Lao Gong, and just energize the area and let it release and purge, and I'll purge it out. So. Strong when I do that? Does it make it worse?
No.
No. Okay. So another thing I'm going to do before I'm done is dredge the gallbladder channels, which I really should have done at the beginning, just to get the valves open. I'll dredge the gallbladder channels out the feet, do a little more stimulation at the feet, and get things flowing down and out. Because sometimes you move the headache around, but it doesn't go out, and you want to get all trapped chi, all valves open. If you ever drain your water tank at your house, you have to open the valves and flush things out, and so think of it like that. So now it's starting to open. And I'm just going to purge and dredge down out the legs. Tiger kneading palm. the other side. Dilate the gallbladder channel even more. And I'm just going to kind of root the energy, bring it down, stimulate a few kidney points, liver 3. A good trick here is I'm going to put invisible needle at liver 3 and show you how to drain that, and that will further improve his situation. So palpate it a little bit, put 2 needles in. So put them in nice and deep, let them sit, and then I'm going to pull them out really quick and just let them kind of bleed energetically. Throw it to the vortex, purge, open. You can use bellows palm to draw that chi out. Pull this one out. So that'll just kind of let the energy further purge out. Ask the patient how he's doing. No headache.
Wow, that's cool.
Cool.
Thank you. That's great. Let me, you can stay like this. I'm going to bubble you. I always shake out a lot. You're going to get, this is one of the most common areas where you're going to get slimed. So picking up headaches from patients, it can be common. So that's unfortunate, but as long as you purge a lot, clean off your hands, blow, do all the safety precautions you've learned, it really, really helps. So I'm just going to shake it out. Root the chi and finish.